I think that there's so much hypocrisy on the other side. There's all kinds of things that were said. Donald Trump said he was going to lower prices, and then the minute he was elected, he said, well, actually, prices are not going to go down. I'd like to see that. Look, you cannot do the things they're talking about, from the tax cuts to the mass deportations, without affecting mandatory spending on Social Security and Medicare.
Pramila Jayapal. We're going to learn a lot about Congress, about the rules from her, even though she is lying through her teeth. Her name is Pramila Jayapal of Washington, one of Washington's most liberal districts. That's right, her name is Pramila, named after the Pram. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are as we dismantle the left and celebrate our congressional victory, but also watch the Democrats' strategy and how they're going to deal with being on the outs.
But he started his remarks talking about the election is over. We're going to lay down the swords of campaigning, of partisanship, and pick up the bipartisan plow to do the work. And I don't understand laying down swords of campaigning, because House Democrats, why do we feel like, because I'm still a Democrat, okay, but I'm really considering being an independent voting lady out here in the streets.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think that this was an opening speech for the leader, right?
She's about to go against everything that she's going to say. She's like, it's just an opening statement. Hakeem Jeffries was lying when he said it's time for us to stop campaigning and start working for the American people. I did like that MSNBC host, though. She goes, I'm seriously considering leaving the Democrat Party to go independent. Watch for more of this. By the way, this happens last time when the Republicans lose. A lot of Republicans leave the party and go independent within division. It's how you show your outrage to your own party that they're not going in a direction that you want them to go. So look for more defections going to independent, further draining and weakening the Democrat Party. We want them to leave their party. I don't want Republicans leaving the Republican Party. I want more people coming in.
We're not going to be there to bail you out. Now, he didn't say all of that, but that is my approach to this. Is I think that there's so much hypocrisy on the other side. There's all kinds of things that were said. Donald Trump said he was going to lower prices, and then the minute he was elected, he said, well, actually, prices are not going to go down. He's got all kinds of things that are going to give tax cuts to the wealthiest and cut Social Security. But, oh, no, during the campaign, he wasn't going to touch Social Security. So I think we will just have to see. We will have to call out every hypocrisy. We will have to be united and strong, standing up against the things that they are going to do when they try to hurt the American people. And I think this was an opening salvo. I think the chairman knows this. You know, everybody at the beginning of every session wants to talk about bipartisanship, and then it devolves very quickly because you cannot be bipartisan when it's about hurting the American people.
And that's their definition of Republican Party, is people who want to hurt the American people. So they can always just oppose anything. They'll never be called to unity with the Republicans. And likewise, the Republicans are a different philosophy than the Democrats, because we believe they actually end up hurting even more of the American people. I think it's okay to say that about a party's position, that if you can, but we have more proof on our side of actual people's jobs that are losses, families split up, kids that are harmed, taken away from the government, people harmed by illegals coming over the border, higher prices due to inflation. We can actually see the harm that their party has done for 4 years. So it's very present in our minds. Now, she's going to go across all the normal Democrat welfare state type stuff, thinking that helps people. It doesn't. It only does in theory. It's something that you stand behind to make yourself feel good. But really, in practice, it helps no one.
We as Democrats have to stand up and fight back against the things that are going to hurt working people. And we got to be strong about it, and we have to be united. And one of the first things is going to be around the tax fight for sure, but also on the attacks on vulnerable communities. Is not going to be easy. We just have to be clear that we're going to stand up for people that are left behind, that are attacked, that are vulnerable.
Is there a more vulnerable community than the unborn? Just saying, before you're even given a name. Who will represent that community? Democrats, man. They love mowing down the most vulnerable community.
Well, to Simone's point, I totally agree.
I might be joining Michael. I might be a Republican, not a Trump.
Oh, yeah.
All right, y'all. Let me check everybody's cup. Check everybody's cup this morning.
Now she's going to become a Republican. That was like only 5 minutes. She goes from being a Democrat to an independent, and now she's ready to join the Republican Party. Come on over, Baldy. Come with the winning side. She'll actually probably be happier. You know, conservatives are on always more happy. If you on all of the polls, Democrats have more psychological problems. More therapists say that more of their clientele are Democrats. They're literally less happy. So I want you to keep laughing. So come over to the conservative side. This is where the happy patriots are.
But it has been to sort of lift up the idea that once you're speaker, you are supposed to represent, at least in procedural matters, everybody.
Right.
Not in political matters. Speakers they represent their own parties. They're elected by their own parties.
I have to break in here and call bull caca on that. The idea that Speaker of the House is supposed to be, nonpartisan. We're going to go back to just remember Nancy Pelosi. When they put together that J6 committee and they claimed it was bipartisan because they put Republicans, they were trying to, stack it with Mitt Romney, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger. That was their idea of being bipartisan in name only, of course. Any real Republican, and there were many Republicans that wanted to defend Donald Trump that wanted to be on that select committee. Like Tim Burchett is one of the guys who actually went up and they said, nope. Basically, if you were pro-Trump, you weren't allowed on the J6 committee. That's their idea, and that was specifically procedural. Okay, that is a procedure. So she claimed that they're not supposed to be political in procedure, just political in politics, in policy. But they were more political in procedure over that J6 thing, which ended up being so significant, right, over the next 4 years of what happened to Trump. They ended up being more political in procedure than a Republican ever has been, probably in the history of the United States.
And so this was a change that was really about, if you remember, before the threshold was just one.
One, right.
And so now they've made it 9, but it's only Republicans, because if you made it 9 with Democrats and a very slim majority, you would, again, Mike Johnson would have.
But it's been the Republicans who've been getting rid of Republican speakers, not Democrats.
That's exactly right.
So
and it's been often.
It's weird because Michael Steele ends up actually saying that Republicans get rid of the Republicans, which is really weird because that would prove through evidence that the Republicans are more bipartisan within their own party. I'm not championing us going after ourselves. I think that's an old game. That can't happen anymore. I only want to say that we've done more to put checks on ourselves than the Democrats have ever put checks on themselves. When they win, they're completely united. They're going to railroad all of the United States. I hope we do more of that this term.
Now we will have Republican president, Republican Senate, Republican House. And I think the thing that we have to do is stay very strong and united and put up a fighting front so that people understand we are not going to let these bad things happen to them, because that's my firm belief is that there are going to be a lot of terrible things for the American people that come out of this next Congress. And I don't want people to have any illusions about where Democrats stand. I want them to know we're on their side, protecting Social Security, protecting Medicare, making sure that people can get food stamps, SNAP benefits, education. I mean, all the things that people need to have a decent life. And they need to see Democrats fighting for that.
Democrats fighting for welfare and education. Everyone happy with your test scores of your local schools that are failing the black communities? That's what she's for. The corrupt education system, lowest performing education system in America's history, and SNAP and food cards, which I think is great for the very needy. But we all know, my friends who actually use SNAP cards, right, the poor, they look at the person coming up, with a cart full of 6 cases of Coca-Cola. They all know about the corruption of who's using multiple cards to buy their food. She's trying to protect that. It's time to reform it all. And your little welfare giveaway money to the poor thing, that's actually degrading to the American voter.
How do you cut $2 trillion out of the budget?
You cannot do that. And so they are going to have to confront that. And that's why I say Democrats have to be really strong, because sometimes we get caught up in, well, we can save this program, but I think sometimes we need to make sure we're seeing the forest and not just the trees. And there is a big question here about what the Republicans are going to do to lower costs, to raise wages, to provide child care, to provide housing.
Lower cost, save health care. We're going to lower the cost of housing. She's giving all of our bullet points. The question is, which party do you believe is more likely to do that? Let us know in the comments below. Who's more likely to lower your housing costs, Democrats or Republicans? Who's more likely to lower your food costs, Democrats or Republicans? Who's more likely to balance the budget? Who's more likely to lower spending? Who's more likely to lower your taxes and give you more of your own money? Who's more likely to secure the border, to keep your jobs from being stolen from other people and keep your young girls from being attacked? Hope you guys like this video. I'd love to have you guys. I'd be honored to have you subscribe, but mostly give us a thumbs up, leave a comment below, let us know you're there. Watch another video maybe right there. I'm Doug in Exile.